Hi there, how are you doing today? This is Marge Cohen, and today we're going to look at this little indie oracle deck called Obsidian Oracle by these folks. And this was a Kickstarter deck, and I really like this deck. I haven't seen much about it, so I am going to show it to you. So it came in this, it comes with this cool little bag that fits the deck. And it comes in this really cool magnetic box. It's nice and sturdy, very nice. It has a guidebook, which we'll look at in a little bit. But let's look right at the deck. So it's a great little size. I would say this is a poker size deck. It just fits right in your hand like playing cards. It's matte, really nice cardstock. I'd say it's like a smooth matte. It's got gold foil on the back. And what I've done is I've pulled out some of my favorite cards to show you, and we'll go through those and some other ones. So it's interesting. Well, I'll talk about some of the things you'll notice in a bit. But this was probably the card that made me get this deck. And it's an axolotl and Merriman moss. So a lot of these cards have two objects on them, a live animal and a mineral or stone. I just love this, and this is very unusual to see in a card deck, and this is what sold me on the deck, although there were a few cards. I mean, look at this. It's just so pretty, and if you look at these, some of these together, I mean, it's just really gorgeous. And the colors are really nice. So yeah, I mean, like, look at these together. I mean, isn't that just fantastic? And there's a little bat. Now, some of these, the font is very different. Like here you can really see this font. It shows up as white. But some of them, it's pretty hard to see. It's very subtle. I'm not sure if that was intended or what exactly. Like here, this axolotl is really hard to see the text. Look at this cuttlefish. It's just gorgeous. So these look like they were, I don't know if they're watercolor or maybe pastels. Just really, really sweet. They're just so cute. Here's a bunny. There's a few cards that just have one object on it. So here's leaf insect, and then I pulled out these that only have one on it. Barn swallow. Look at this, a Venus flytrap. How unusual is that? And then these three, birch forest, universe, and strata. Those are kind of different from the, oh, look at this. Most of the cards follow this format. And they're just so cute. And very, zoologically, they look pretty accurate. Very nicely done. And then, I won't show you every single card. He gets his own card. And then there are 10 moon cards. of all different stages. So it's quite a lot of moon cards. So one thing about this deck that happened pretty quickly, even right out of the box, and this happens with a lot of decks that have black backgrounds, is that you could see, well, this edge is probably the edge I shuffle them on. So they're wearing pretty good, but even when I took it out of the deck, out of the box, there were little chips on it. So it's okay. When I first took this deck out of the box and I saw the sort of the inconsistency in the font, like some you can hardly see, and the scratches, I was a little irritated, but I like this deck so much that I just said, okay, this is part of the personality of this deck, and it's okay. And I love this deck. I love handling it. It shuffles really nicely. Look how great it looks with soul cards, even though the gold is on the back of these and on the front of these. But look at this. I mean, isn't that just gorgeous? Wow. So we could take a look at the book. It's just a pretty little book, pretty small. So let's take one. Spoonbill and Labradorite. And they're in here alphabetically. Okay, so this is what you get. You get some keywords. You get some kind of biological description of the animal and the stone, the animal and its habitat. It's named so because of its beak. It helps him to get tadpoles. And then it gets into the meaning of the card. There's no shame in retreating from the world to indulge in some introspection. And then there's a reversal meaning. So I have found this deck to be helpful. There's a lot of cards about walking away, letting things go. You know it's time to move on. It's time to go. So I've found it surprisingly helpful when I wasn't even really asking a specific question. But there was an issue going on that the cards spoke to. So there's a list of them. They're in here alphabetically. There's a little bit of description. Let me see okay, she did paint them. She did paint them. She doesn't say with what, but I'm guessing maybe it's watercolor, very tightly controlled. So intro, getting to know the deck. And then there's a few spreads, single card draw. I've never used them, and then it just gets into all the descriptions. So, should we pick a card for this group? I don't know. Should we? Okay. I've only got one hand to shuffle, though. I can't really shuffle them. Maybe one day I'll buy an actual camera like people use, so they have both hands. And one thing, too, that's so nice about this deck, because it's such a nice, I don't know if you could see the texture. It's not glossy at all. It's matte, but it's smooth, so it just shuffles really, really nicely. There's no clinging. And cards just kind of pop out really easily. Let's just take that one. Ooh, a little bat. Oh, how cute. Okay, bat and dolomite. See, bat and dolomite. Okay, let's see if we can fit it right in there with it. Bats are often feared creatures of the night, but they're gentle. They shouldn't scare anybody. Creatures of awareness and intuition. Dolomite is a spiritual stone helping balance emotion. Change is coming, but don't panic. Transition brings some turmoil, and yes, a few issues you thought were long gone, but stay calm. So this to me reminds me of Hangman, which, you know, could be a harbinger of change, but you're kind of waiting. You're kind of waiting until you decide what to do. Anyway, so there is a little look at the Obsidian Oracle. Hope you like it. Hope you have a great day. Take care and stay safe and well.